Hi everyone, my name is Emily Agnello. I am the Assistant Director of Graduate Recruitment here at LMU. I am very lucky to work with all six of our colleges here, but I do specifically work with our Post-Baccalaureate program, both the pre-med, pre-dental, and the pre-allied health. So we're excited for you all to be here today. Thank you for taking the time out of your night to kind of hear from us. But to get started, I'm going to let our three current student panelists go ahead and introduce themselves. Leah, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, my name is Leah Runblad. I am from LA and I went to UC Irvine for my undergrad and I got a bachelor's of science degree in psychology and currently I'm in the pre-med track at LMU.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. I'm from Pasadena, California. I'm also in the pre-med track, and I went to Claremont McKenna for my undergrad, and I got a degree in neuroscience.
Hey everyone, my name is Stefan. I got my undergrad at San Diego State University for business, and I am from San Diego, and I'm in the pre-med 1-year track.
Well, thank you all. Thanks for participating and being here tonight too. I know you all are also very busy as current students. So I have a list of general questions that I'm going to go ahead and start asking our panelists. If anybody has any other specific questions for the panelists, feel free to type in the chat or use the raise hand function and we'll go ahead and call on you. But to get us started, why did you all choose LMU's Post-Bac program?
So for me personally, my first kind of reasoning was I did want to stay within the LA area, mainly because I live in the area, so I could commute and save money with housing. But mainly when I was looking at post-bac programs, I was kind of looking for a more structured program, something that could offer good student support, and then also like linkage programs with medical schools. And I found that coming from UC Irvine, my classes were ginormous. Like my lecture halls were just hundreds of people, and it was really hard to form a good relationship with professors and also other students. And so LMU does have quite small classes, like your usual lectures will be 25, 30 people probably or something like that. And I really like that. It's allowed me to get to know people a lot better, and also develop a stronger relationship with professors because down the road you guys will need to have letters of rec, and it's really helpful to have a professor or a couple of them that you talk to on a daily basis or regular basis, and you have a good friendship with them outside of just in class. But that was kind of the main reason I would say, like good student support and small classes.
Yeah, I would echo everything Leah said. I also had the opportunity to meet Courtney, who I'm sure maybe some of you have interacted with or know of yet, or maybe you don't, but she's the one-on-one advisor that we have in the post-bac program. And I met her at a pre-health conference and I just really got a good feeling about the program. And yeah, I think the one-on-one advising with her is something that really sold me on the program. And similarly, I'm from the LA area, so wanted to stay local. And yeah, my undergrad was pretty small liberal arts college, so I liked that about LMU is the small class sizes, getting to know your professors and things like that.
Yeah, what I'd like to add is that I really like that there's a cohort within the program. I definitely find that having those the same students going to the same classes as me that are in the same path as me, we always work together, and I feel like when we work together, things become so much more easier, especially the really hard classes. And definitely that the class sizes were smaller, that when they get too big, you just kind of feel like you're just a student out of so many, and don't really have that one-on-one time with the professor when you're struggling. And that's going to be really important down the road. If you do come across really hard material, you want to easily access time with the professor if you have any questions. So yeah.
Well, anybody have any other questions from the audience before I keep going? Okay, so I know trying to figure out where to go is a process. It's the next big step in your career path. So do you mind sharing a little bit about what the school search was like for you and what the interview process was like also?
Yeah, so for me, like I said before, I kind of made it easier on myself because I was limiting myself to schools mainly in LA. But in terms of the the interview process, I found it to be definitely very nerve-wracking at first because it's like, this is kind of the start of a new path for most people. And I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I found that once the interview started, as long as you really do have, a strong passion for this career in medicine, I felt like answering most of the questions kind of felt pretty natural. So I wouldn't really stress too much about, having the perfectly curated answer for something. You just want to be honest about how you feel about medicine. And I mean, as long as it's like I said before, like a strong passion, you really should be pretty set.
Yeah, what I really liked is LMU's process is rolling. So it was similarly to Leah, I wanted to stay in the LA area. So LMU was the first place I applied to just to kind of get the ball rolling and see how everything would shake out. And it was a pretty quick turnaround from the application um, submission. I think I heard back within a couple of weeks. And so I then had an interview with Courtney. And yeah, I just felt like it was a pretty easy interview, like easygoing conversation type of an interview. And Courtney is very easy to talk to. So yeah.
Yeah, so when I got the notification for the interview, I mean, just talk to Courtney over Zoom. It was easy. I was a little nervous, but she makes it easy. Just be honest. Tell her exactly um what your experiences are and what answer the questions honestly and to the best of your ability, and it'll all line up, and I'm sure you guys will all get a good chance of getting in. Just be honest and try your best.
I know you all kind of mentioned in your responses some advice for students, but is there any things in particular that you would advise someone who's going through the same process right now?
Yeah, I see that there's a hand raise. Should we answer the question first?
Yeah, we can answer that question first.
Okay, wait. I have like questions pertaining to stats and stuff, so I don't know if I should like ask it later or if now would be an okay. I like wrote down like a whole bunch of questions right now, so I don't know if but they're like all pertaining to like stats and like the linkage program and questions about that.
Yeah, go ahead. You're welcome to ask.
Okay, cool. So first, if you guys don't mind sharing with me your guys' like GPA when you guys graduated from your undergrad, and if you guys took the MCAT or not, and if you guys applied to medical school before.
So for me personally, my GPA was I think it was a 3.75. And then what was your second question again?
Did you guys take the MCAT already?
Oh, no, but I have started studying. I think I might have been a little bit early to the studying, honestly, because I needed these classes to help me understand things better. I mean, it can't hurt to start studying a little bit early, especially with like cars, which I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know about. But in terms of, like the actual hard science, definitely is helpful to wait until you've taken some classes.
Because I already graduated from my undergrad last year in May. I majored in bio, so like I have those classes down. I have taken them MCAT once. I did apply to medical school. The cycle that just went wasn't accepted anywhere. So that's I'm like, okay, gotta do a post bac. So that's yeah.
I guess I can also share my GPA. I had a 3.7 out of undergrad, and I haven't taken the MCAT yet. I plan to take it not this spring, but next spring. So I'll probably start studying over the summer is my plan.
Yeah, for me, I think we're all career changers, me, Leah, and Natalie. Um, for me, my GPA was a little lower. The cumulative was around 3.3, and my science was actually higher. It was around 3.4. But being in this program, if you try hard, the professors are so helpful. So you're gonna raise your, I would assume if you try in this program, you're gonna raise your GPA. So at the end of the day, you're gonna have a higher GPA once you're done with this program, especially your science GPA. Um, but what other questions did you have? I'm sorry.
Um, and then yeah, okay, so since you guys are all career changers, yeah, so you guys probably all have not applied to medical school yet either. I'm assuming. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay.
But for the ones like myself that are doing the 1 year program, um, I'm already starting to study for the MCAT. This is going to be me applying to this cycle in July.
So
I'm
you're
gonna,
graduating from, so LMU, you're doing the 1 year program, and then you're graduating this spring and then applying to medical school this spring. Okay, cool.
yeah. Um, Courtney's really helpful. Just specifically whatever your situation is, there's like a whole she maps it out very well for you depending on what she believes is best for you. So she'll tell you what's best for you, either the 1 year or the 2 year. If you need to improve your strengths and experiences, or maybe GPA or stuff like that. So whatever your specific situation is, that then she'll break it down pretty specifically for you.
I saw some questions in the chat too that I guess I'll just answer right now. For the curve with being in classes with undergrad, I honestly find that it benefits you more if there is a curve. Especially, I mean, at least for me, my psych major kind of did have some overlap in content, so it was more like a review at certain times, but I feel like in general, the curve tends to help the post backs. I feel like because we have each other, we tend to, I think, score a little bit higher in general. So yeah. Um, and then the second question. So, I actually asked this question in my interview with Courtney.
Do you mind reading the question in case someone
Oh, yeah. It says, does the program support the facilitation of research with LMU professors or volunteering opportunities with nearby hospitals? I will say I asked this question to Courtney, and LMU is not a research school. So in terms of research opportunities, that's more of like a one-on-one with a professor. There are definitely bio professors that do their own research that if you get to know them better and, reach out to them, I'm sure they'll help you with these research opportunities. And in terms of volunteering, I personally, my schedule has not yet allowed for me to open my like time up to be working or volunteering quite yet. That'll be like a summer thing. So I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Courtney about that, but I don't know if Natalie or Stefan, you have any input.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. One thing that is really cool about this program is there's a pre-health newsletter where Courtney sends out like volunteer opportunities There's also a website that lists local opportunities to volunteer. So through this LMU program and through Courtney, I found the UCLA Care Extenders volunteer program, which I do every week for a couple of hours, and you rotate through different departments at their Santa Monica Hospital and their Ronald Reagan Hospital. So I, yeah, really enjoy that. And that was also, I found that through this program. So that was great. And there's tons of opportunities like that as well out there.
Since I am a 1 year, it is possible that the people that are in the 1 year program have time to do research on the side, but it is extremely difficult because you're compressing a lot of classes into 1 year. Although I won't say that it's impossible, but definitely you can, you know, after taking these science classes like bio, chemistry, or physics, you can definitely build a relationship with these professors and then come to their office hours, get help from them, ask them good questions. And then it can definitely be a question that you can ask them further down the line if they're participating in any research in the school, and if you could possibly be part of that research. If you're in the 2 year program, I would say that that's probably the best fit, since you have much more time, and then you're also there for much longer, so they're not kind of inclined to say, oh, well, this person's going to leave in less than a year, maybe I shouldn't have them in my research. But there is a lot of opportunities, like Leah and Natalie said. There's emails sent out very frequently about volunteering and shadowing and stuff like that.
I know Katana's had his hand raised for a while, so you want to go ahead and ask your question. Then we'll go back to the chat and jump around.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'm Kathan. Nice to meet you all. I'm just finishing up my master's in public health. I heard you guys mention kind of like having a strong reason for going into medicine. Obviously, if you're doing a post-bac program, that's super important. I I guess like if you guys are willing to share, what kind of brought you into like deciding to do a pre-med track? I know like you guys have different backgrounds, like neuroscience, business, and I'm sorry, Natalie, I forget yours. But yeah, just like what's your kind of like what brought you into this, and like do you notice like a lot of differences in like your cohort, or like is it kind of like a similar kind of like narrative?
For me personally, when I entered psych, because that was my major, it was kind of like in the back of my mind. My older brother, he's a doctor himself, so I kind of grew up with that inspiration around me, and it only kind of hit until pretty late in my college career. But what really kind of pushed me in that direction was definitely during my time at UC Irvine. I took some bio and neuroscience classes that really I just found that I was the most interested in those subjects, and I kept like wanting to go deeper and deeper in different like and branching out in kind of relating topics. And then all while this was happening, I was actually dealing with my own health problems. I was getting like debilitating migraines, and it was just I wanted to figure out a solution. And if anyone else has like chronic migraines, they might know it's a lot to try to find like a reason why you get them and try to tackle the problem. And so during that, I did run into like issues with healthcare, and then also the good side of healthcare, of course. And it kind of just the overall experience inspired me to want to become a doctor, really.
Yeah, I think similarly to Leah, in undergrad I did neuroscience, so it's always kind of been in the back of my mind. And when I graduated, I was debating between a job as a medical assistant, and I also got this other job kind of on the business side of healthcare in San Francisco. So I ended up taking that job just to kind of explore the business side of things. But I did 2 years there, and I interviewed a lot of patients and doctors, and I was like, I really don't want to be working, this desk job um and doing stuff like that. I really want to be on the patient care side of things. And yeah, I think I've also had I grew up playing sports. I was an athlete in college, and so I've had a lot of different injuries. And so kind of the time I've spent with physicians and athletic trainers, I think that also kind of planted a seed in my head. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it was mainly just due to COVID situations. My parents are small business owners, so their small business had to shut down during COVID. So basically, it left with me trying to find some sort of income for the family. And I found a position at an urgent care for COVID swabbing and also helping out the doctors there. Then it led to me picking up a position later down the line in the surgery room, which would like really open my eyes. And I felt like it was an administrative position, but I felt as if I was way more interested in like the surgeries that were going on instead of the administrative side of things. And then after I wanted the patient interaction, so I tried out nurse assisting, and then that all confirmed that I liked or really enjoyed seeing patients improve in their health and me being a big part of it. So really that's why I decided to pursue medicine.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing that.
Cyrus, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. Hi. I have a question for Leah and Natalie. I'm also a BS in psych right now. I'm a senior, and I was just kind of wondering how the classes compare to like biopsych and learning memory and all that stuff. And then a question for everyone is, how many dental students are there, or is it like pretty much all uh, med school students?
So for me personally, I think it probably depends on what school you go to. Are you talking about like difficulty or classes of classes or like the content mainly?
Yeah, I was more talking like workload and difficulty.
I would say compared to UC Irvine, I would say that it's relatively comparable. For bio courses at LMU, it definitely is very lecture heavy, and you do have to rely quite a bit on like your note-taking skills. I feel like that's pretty common though in bio courses. Um, I can't say that I've had a course yet that was like unbelievably difficult for me. Then again, I have not taken OChem yet, which I know is usually the hardest class. Um, but yeah, I would say it's pretty comparable. It's nothing too crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would like echo that. Nothing out of left field. I feel like it's pretty, your undergrad probably prepares you pretty well for the classes at LMU, and I feel like they're fairly similar in rigor. So, but yeah, I also haven't taken OChem, genuinely a little scared for that. So, yeah, might have a different answer after that, but hopefully not.
And then I think you asked about the dental students. I don't know the exact number, but there are pre-dental students. There's like a handful, I would say. I don't
Like
know.
there's like maybe three or something.
Yeah, we're a very small cohort, so that sounds like a really, really small number. But I mean, I guess proportionally it's not like there's only one pre-med and pre-dental. There's a few, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on the difficulty of classes. Although I'm a business major, I I honestly feel like there's a lot of resources in the school for you to, I guess, get support and not fall behind if you feel like you're approaching at that moment. Um, so I have taken OChem and the professors are really good. Um, there has been moments where I've struggled, but at the end of the day, I got a pretty good grade in them. Um, I feel like they do really good, honestly. And for the pre-dental question, actually, my cohort, it's about half pre-dental, half pre-med in the 1 year track cohort. So it's pretty spread out evenly. There's definitely resources for both, and yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump back to the chat now. What is your schedule like, and are you able to work while attending classes?
So me personally, I am doing the 1 year track, so it's accelerated, and it for like I would say fall and spring semesters, it would be kind of unrealistic for me to work, and that's just me personally. I do commute, so I have to take that into consideration. And then I also have a dog that I am taking care of, so she's kind of a lot of work sometimes. But I do know people that have, similar schedules as me, and they are able to get away with working. It's just kind of a matter of, okay, if you're confident in your ability to do well in these classes, you might actually be able to manage working at the same time. It's just for me personally, I really wanted to focus on ensuring that my GPA was gonna be really good. And that I could put all of my focus on school at the time.
Yeah, I'm doing the 14th month track. So right now I'm not working. At the same time, I am doing the volunteering, like I mentioned, but in the fall, my course load will go down to just 2 classes to finish up the program. So I plan to get a job um, during that time and through next year. So yeah, I think I'll have a lot more time then.
Yeah, if it comes down to it and you really need to have a job, and you don't have any other help, or don't want to take out loans through FAFSA or private student loans, um, I mean, that's something that you gotta talk to Courtney about, and then you could possibly consider doing the 2 year track. For me, doing the 1 year track, definitely I've worked since I was 15 years old, and studying at the same time. And Courtney made it clear that it would be favorable to not have a job during this 1 year track. You're just going to get better results if you don't. Unfortunately, it won't be the case for everyone that takes this program. I think I know someone that is doing the 1 year track that works part-time, but it can be done for sure. But if you want the best results, I would say probably don't work if you're doing the 1 year track.
Guys, Amari, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
I just wanted to know about the size of you guys' cohorts. I heard you guys say that there's like a 1 year and a 2 year, it sounds like. So I just wanted to know what the class sizes are like, not necessarily the class sizes, but the cohort sizes, and how often do you guys have time to meet just you guys outside of your undergraduate classes that you guys are in?
I think I don't have an exact number, but I would say in the entire cohort, from what I understand, is everyone, including people who are 1 year or 2 year. Um, if you're if you do go into the program, you'll have a class that's specific to every single person in your cohort, and so that's also a really good time to kind of get to know people that are kind of on the same path as you, and it includes pre-med and pre-dental. I would say there's about like 25 people maybe. I don't know. Um, and then I'm sorry, did you have another question? Oh, how often do we meet outside of classes? Was that it? Um, I would say for me personally, because I do live a little bit further from people that live near campus, I don't meet up as much, but um I feel like I know quite a few people in the cohort that they've become really good friends, and we all go to like the same person's place and just kind of hang out and study and, you know, do all types of things together. But I would say I feel like we're a pretty close bunch. I would say that.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you live local, people tend to get together. Probably we have like a group chat where we all will kind of just throw out like, hey, I'm thinking of going here on Thursday night if anyone wants to join or things like that. But yeah, we do see each other every other week for a class we take with Courtney. And also, I would say like every class I've taken at LMU, I've at least had 2 or 3 other post bacs in my class. So sometimes we'll like go to the library and study together. So yeah, we do see each other quite a bit, and it's like nice to see a familiar face in classes when it's all like just you and all the other undergrads. It's nice to have some post bacs there with you. We all kind of like sit together. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely hanging out in between classes too, eating together. Maybe like every 2-ish weeks we'll go out to go get some food or something. And yeah, you get really close once you're taking all the same classes and going through the same journey. You guys have so much in common already, so you guys become really good friends.
Thank you. That's all I really wanted to know.
So, Princess asked in the chat. I know, well, I guess Leah and Natalie, you were from the area, but how did you all find housing, or how does the program support with student housing?
I live with some people I knew from my undergrad that were in the area, but I do believe we got an email when we got into this program about LMU potentially um, having housing for undergrads. Emily, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah, I do think they can support you if that's something that you want.
Yeah, I like to add on to that. I was looking into graduate housing. You can definitely email Courtney about that. What I saw personally is that living on campus with graduate housing, I preferred that just because you're just so much closer. You're taking so many classes. It makes everything easier. And not only that, I was comparing like the prices, and it seemed like a better deal. The only reason I didn't do it is because I live with my girlfriend, and I believe they don't permit that. Also, I have a super big dog, so I think that's another reason why I didn't do it. But it's definitely a good option, very good option.
Yeah, so a little more to expand on that. The graduate student housing at LMU is technically a partnership with an apartment complex nearby called Playa del Oro. I'm not sure if they do allow the post-bac students in the on-campus dorms. That would be a great question for Courtney. But I do know that graduate students are off campus in this apartment complex. It is a very nice apartment complex, has all amenities, comes, fully furnished if you like. But a lot of our students do find either other students in their cohort or other LMU students to live off campus with. We have an office of off-campus housing that actually has one of those, I don't know what they are, the roommate finders. So like if you're looking for a roommate who might be an LMU student in a different program, they can provide you with access to that site. You make a profile and you can, talk to other LMU students who are looking for roommates off campus too. We are surrounded by a ton of housing here, besides the neighborhoods, the apartment complex is nearby. So there's a lot of different options for all of our students. And kind of like Stephen mentioned, like just really depends on your situation. Okay, next question. Oh, Avery, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Oh yeah. Hi, I'm Avery. I go to a pretty big school, so like most of the pre-med classes are really big. Um, so and I know LMU is a lot smaller, so I just wanted to ask like I know you talked about having like good relationships with your professors, but I know like there are other undergrads in the classes, so I just wanted to ask like if you still feel like you can have like a close relationship with the professor and they can see like your academic strengths, even though there are other undergrads and probably more undergrads than post-bac students.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, me personally, I've already developed a very good relationship with my chemistry professor. Um, I'm in my second semester and I decided to take his second chemistry class. And I would say that there are certain professors, I feel like a majority actually, majority professors do keep track of who are post-bacs and who are undergrads. And I know quite a few of them actually get really excited to have post-bacs in their class. And they definitely do, track how well you're doing in class, and they definitely will support you. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like because we're post-bacs, it's a little bit easier actually for the professors to kind of like talk to us. I know my chemistry professor, he actually would approach post-bacs after class and ask for our opinions on how he runs his class. Um, kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like older students can offer better advice. I don't know exactly what the reasoning behind it is, but I would say 100% a lot of the professors love having post-bacs in their class.
Thank you.
Kimberly, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly. I had a quick question in regards to classes. So I'm more interested in the dental route, and I know a lot of you guys are in like the medical route. In regards to the classes, are they already like pre-setted, or do we have to kind of be battling trying to obtain these classes, just like other regular schools?
I would say um Courtney will have like a very set schedule for you that she'll let you know about. Um it's basically that she looks at the classes that you've already taken and what you need to fulfill, and then she'll create kind of a plan for you, and you guys can go over it together. So it's very structured. You don't have to worry about finding a class for yourself that you need to fulfill. Courtney will help you with that.
Yeah, also I would add we get to register for classes before the undergrads do. So that's also a plus. Like people generally don't have trouble getting into a class that they need to get into. Um, so at least, yeah, in my experience so far.
And I'm sorry, my next question would be it's pretty much like full time, right? So it'd be like 12 units. And is that according to that 1 year plan or the 2 year plan, or is it that you take more classes if you're trying to minimize it?
For me personally, I'm doing a full-time schedule and I'm on the 1 year track, but I do know that if for any reason you feel overwhelmed with the amount of work you have, you can definitely talk to Courtney and kind of discuss like, okay, well, if I just think that this is too much work, how should I go about it? And she'll really work with you to kind of figure out the best route so that you don't struggle academically, you take care of your mental health, and you have a little bit more time to, focus on the classes that you feel stressed about.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. I actually know, or I mean, I'm friends with people in my, well, they're pre-dental, but you have the option of going into it in a 1 year track and then saying after one semester, hey, this is a little too intense. Let's do the 2 year track instead. And Courtney's able to work with you on that if it is too heavy on your workload or if you have to pick up a job or something, you can definitely switch your plan while you're in the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next question, did any of you consider other healthcare paths, such as physician's assistant or nurse practitioner? And if so, why did you ultimately decide to go pre-med?
I definitely was considering pre-PA for a long time. I was on the fence for quite a while. Um, and actually over the summer I shadowed um, a PA, and I think ultimately what led me to wanting to take the kind of physician route is autonomy and just having a bit more say in things. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's a personal preference. So, but I think, yeah, shadowing a PA was a huge kind of game changer for me. So I think if you're kind of on the fence, I highly recommend that because it helped me a lot.
I just like to add that although I haven't shadowed a PA, definitely just do your research. And even like you watch like day in the life YouTube videos if you need to, or go on Reddit or whatnot. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. For me, I was willing to I guess sacrifice the load and then also the duration and to also have more say, just like Natalie said, kind of, I don't want to say be in charge, but just try to do my best to help the patient.
Next question. This is a follow-up to the question about research. So did you guys engage in research either in undergrad or during the program, or know any students who have, who are in the program who have? It sounds like there are many opportunities, but does the program help facilitate these connections?
I did research in undergrad in kind of the neuroscience sphere. So I'm not at the moment doing research at LMU, but I think from my understanding, it's more of getting to know your professor and asking them if they have research opportunities. I know that Courtney told us that's kind of like the best way to find research on campus. I mean, all the professors in the sciences are doing research, so I think yeah, if you go to office hours, get to know them, start to ask them about their research. Um, they often will let you help out with stuff. But yeah, I don't know if, at least that I know of in the program, I don't know if anyone is working with a professor at the moment, but I could be wrong. But it is available if it's something you want to do.
Yeah, I did research at it's called an RU, research experience for undergraduates. Usually there's summer programs. I did mine the year prior for me starting this program. And it was just biology. It wasn't necessarily focused on medicine. And yeah, that's part of the reason why I chose the 1 year track. But there's plenty of opportunities here.
Okay, so then next question, what are your typical times for your classes?
In general, the general lectures that you're going to be going to, so like bio, chemistry, physics, etc. They're mainly during the day, so it's kind of like a normal undergrad schedule. You might have 8 a.m.s, but because like Natalie said, you do get to register earlier, you can kind of avoid that if you would like to. A little pro tip though is that parking on campus is much better for 8 a.m.s than it is for like a 10 a.m. class. So that is also good to keep in mind. Um, but in terms of the health professions class that we mentioned earlier, which is specifically for post bacs, those so far have been in the evenings, and it luckily it's only every other week, so it's a little bit easier for those that commute and maybe don't have the ability to go home in between their classes.
Yeah, I definitely second that part about parking. I found that out the hard way at the beginning of the semester. So, um, but yeah, I think generally classes tend to be in the morning and like 3 times a week, the kind of bio chem classes, and then labs tend to be in the afternoon, like 1 day a week, um, maybe twice a week for some other classes. I'm not sure, but mine have been like once a week. Um, yeah, so that's kind of just the general. I'm taking stats this semester, so I have like class in the evening, which is sort of an outlier, but I don't really mind it because I get work done on campus during the day after my morning classes. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I guess if I were to take an average, because every day is a different schedule, kind of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would say my average is about like 3 to 4 hours of class a day, just because the labs are really long. They can go up to 3 to 4 hours. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are longer days, but on average, I would say like 3 to 4 hours a day of just purely in class. But yeah.
You guys. Next question. Does the program provide resources for MCAT prep?
Yeah, so that'll be specific to the post-bac class that we've mentioned. I know this last semester we actually had a speaker come in and he had to do with, or he was like a co-founder, I believe, of what was it, Berkeley Review. But he actually was able to give us some really good input on, what type of questions to expect for the MCAT, some ideas in terms of the best way to plan out your study schedule for the MCAT, and then also some like strategies. So they do have, those kinds of resources. And then within each class, they offer outside resources such as like links to places and so and so. I'm not sure, Natalie or Stefan, if you know that LMU ever like sends out MCAT resources. I'm not too sure.
I know all post bacs have code for the AAMC MCAT prep, which is the official they're the people that write the MCAT, and they probably have the most solid prep. So each student has a code which Courtney will send to you when you're ready to access these materials that usually cost hundreds of dollars. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but they come with practice exams, question banks, flashcards, and that could be, your main resource of studying, and that's included within the program.
Our next question, is the one-year program feasible? Like, do you still feel like y'all have balanced life, like social, self-care, etc.? And then also, how do you balance all of that with MCAT studying with your classes? Is it hard to prioritize it all?
I would say I have very minimal issues with balancing my school and social life and self-care. Um, I I would definitely say it's feasible for sure. Um, I still am able to do the things that I like doing, like exercising and playing music, etc. And I can still hang out with friends on a regular basis. So it's nothing absolutely insane to the point where you're going to be locked in your room studying every single day. And in terms of MCAT studying, I personally have put a pause in my studying for the MCAT right now because I do want to focus on my schooling. But I do think that Courtney, at least for me, she set up my my schedule for the classes I'm going to be taking in the future to kind of have a more open schedule later on. And so I'm planning on starting MCAT studying in the summer, and then that way when I am still in school in fall, I'll have fewer classes so I can, continue studying for the MCAT.
Yeah, that's same with me. I feel like I have, it just feels like actually less than undergrad. I feel like I have more time now to kind of um, focus on just school, which is nice. And then also being able to spend time with friends. I don't really have trouble balancing that. I don't think it's anything too crazy. But yeah, similarly, I'm not going to start studying for the MCAT until um, probably this summer, fall, when I'm taking less classes too. So, and that's kind of purposeful how I built my schedule. So, and how Courtney helped me build my schedule. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, Google Calendar is definitely my best friend. Just put everything on a calendar, and then you can, whenever your friends or your family reaches out to you with some sort of plans, all you have to do is just check your calendar and see what you have available. And usually you do have availability. Like me personally, every 2 to 3 weeks, I go and visit my friends and family in San Diego just by driving 2 hours, stay over there with my parents over the weekend. Um, I'll probably still study like 1 to 2 hours here and there over the weekend, but I still definitely have time to chill out and see my friends if I have time. Yeah, I definitely have time.
Cyrus, do you want to go ahead and answer your question?
Sure. I was wondering if how classes are graded. Is it normally like a 50% midterm, 50% final kind of thing, or is it like broken up between assignments and homework and all that kind of stuff?
I'd say it depends on the class. In general, well, my physics class was definitely midterm final heavy. But in terms of bio and chemistry, chemistry by far has had the most assignments that you get graded on and kind of gives you a little padding to your grade. But usually you'll have like a couple of exams and then you have a final. Um, and then for bio, it's a little bit less on the assignments, but there are still like extra credit opportunities occasionally, um, that kind of help cushion everything.
Yeah, I haven't been in a class where, the final is more than maybe 30% of your grade, um, which has been nice. Yeah, and there's a lot of built-in assignments. And then also in our physics class, our lab is built into our grade for the class, which is really nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Leah and Natalie about that. With all my classes, the only one that's an exception for me was organic chemistry one. Um, it was like this professor, I just heard so many good things about him, so I took him and he was really great, so much help. But his grading scale was all midterms, which was 4 exams. One of them was dropped, and then a final. And that was scary at first, but just having such a good professor to help you through everything and how good he breaks down this really hard material, it ended up helping me at the end. And it's scary at first, but definitely works out at the end.
Do you want to ask your question?
Hi, yes, quick question. So for those like myself, okay, I'm like not the most it takes me a while to like understand like a lot of like bio or like cal stuff. So in regards to like a course, how would you guys like manage like studying if let's just say, you're taking 4 courses at the same time? How are you able to like manage all these classes at the same time and like also pass them and not have to retake them? Or I'm not so sure even an option of retaking any courses.
I would say the most important thing, I feel like what really helps is if you do know that you struggle in certain concepts, um, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Professors do like it when you ask questions and go to their office hours, of course. There are also like student study sessions that are put together as well as like tutoring that it's free that you can go to, which also can be of help. But what really does help is like especially for bio courses, if you have the time to be able to kind of like skim the next lecture's material in the textbook beforehand, so you kind of already have an idea of what to expect. And then what you learn in class will almost be like additional stuff that you can add on to what you just read. And then beyond that, it's really helpful to kind of just review what you went over in class the same day. I know that that tends to help a lot of people with retaining information. But in general, most of the professors are really helpful if you have questions.
Yeah, I've also found those, especially for chemistry, the like group study session and like peer tutors are actually really helpful just to like go in and do your weekly homework. And I think juggling all the classes, what I do is I like calendar out hours that I'm going to work on a certain subject every week. Like I'll look at my schedule and be like, okay, on Tuesday from this time to this time, I'm going to do chem. From this time to this time on Thursday, I'm going to do Thursday. And I also, there's kind of like, I have assignments every week that are due kind of on the same days. So I schedule my studying around that too. And so I find that to be helpful. But yeah, calendaring is also my best friend. So
Yeah, definitely those are all good things. I would say one thing that helped me out a lot is I feel like I'm surrounded in this program by very intelligent people. Always just keeping that communication with them, seeing like, hey, have you started on this assignment? Hey, have you started studying on this? Hey, I'm having trouble with this question or this concept. Like, can we have like a little study session over Zoom or Discord? Um, Definitely, I would say that working with others within the program like really helped me out. It definitely two has worked better than one, and both of you feed each other's minds, and it always helped me.
Thank you.
Question in the chat is, can we apply for scholarships or grants to reduce the loan amount? I'm going to ask the three of you first if you have applied for any scholarships or grants, and then I'll go ahead and give my answer.
So I have not. The good thing is that we still qualify for FAFSA loans, which are very low interest rates, and the interest doesn't start until a certain amount of months after you finish your school. So that's great. And that's what I did. It's a part of the tuition, so it won't cover the entire amount, but it's definitely helping a lot. And I did not apply to scholarships.
Well, I just put in the chat a financial aid website that we have. So technically our post-bac students are considered fifth year undergraduate students. You know, you're in that middle ground. You are taking undergraduate classes even though you've already received an undergraduate degree. So that website will kind of talk a little bit more to your situation. There are no specific scholarships or grants through LMU for our post-bac students, but if you are looking for some from an outside donor, that is really where we encourage our post-bac students to look if they're hoping to get a scholarship. I know it is 6:30. Is there any last burning questions before we close for the night? Michael, I see your message. I'll answer you right now also.
I have thank you. I have one more question. In regards to like the courses in regard so let's just say like for dental school, we would go ahead and take pretty much all the classes needed in order to apply for dental school. Is that correct? Or like let's just say for like the medical field as well. You're pretty much given that route. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for attending tonight. Thank you, Leah, Natalie, and Stephen. Your insight has been wonderful, and we really appreciate you answering everybody's questions. I will stick on for 2 more minutes if anybody has any last burning questions, but also on Friday, Courtney is hosting a pre-med, pre-dental info session, so I will go ahead and drop the registration link to that in the chat in case you do want to talk to her. She will be available on Friday at noon for that. So thank you all so much, and we'll talk to you all soon.